Alright guys, today we're taking a look at the Hydra Case Hardened gloves and what the perfect combinations are for them as of the end of November 2025. So let's not waste any time, we're going to get right into it. The gloves you're looking at are minimal wear and they cost $125 and they are pattern 630, which is up on the screen. This pair, the one notable thing about them are, you actually get blue markings around the fingers on the right hand. Granted, you can't see them that well right now while holding the knife. And while we mentioned the knife, it's a flip case hardened minimal wear as well. Pattern is 401. This is one of the cheapest ones that was listed on CS2 at the time of planning. And all this pricing is from the 25th of November. I wanted to go an actual mix of the blue and the yellow here because that's what we get on the gloves. And I feel like that's what's going to work best. On the CT agent side, to clear it up, it's going to be Ricksaw. I looked through like 6 different CT agents with sleeves. I didn't like any of them, so we're going to go sleeveless. Now, you do technically have 2 upgrade paths for the knife. The one I quite like here is going to be going for the butterfly case hardened. I feel like that with the gloves and getting the animations, like sub $1,000 for a minimal wear butterfly, just is kind of nice to have. So $870 to grab this. This is pattern 367. As you can see, first over with the flip knife, we've got we've got more yellow than we do blue, but that's based on what I could find at a good sort of market price, base market price at the time of planning. So obviously when you're looking, you might get something with a bit more blue or a pattern that you actually quite like. And then the only other thing that I really thought like could work with these, because it was quite tough, is going to be a blue steel. Now this is a field test at M9 blue steel. It's $516. I do think that if you're getting these gloves, you kind of have to lock in on a case hardened knife. Otherwise, just look at different gloves. And to go on to the CT weapon skins, for the USP, I am going to pick up the Royal Guard here. It is almost $11 in a minimal wear, and it's pretty much, it's got the blue, it's got the gold, and also it's got that sort of like black as well, and you've got a little bit of like blacky grey on the gloves. I'm going to turn the volume down, boys, because this is loud as hell. So there we go. Oh, hello, mate. It complements quite well, it gets us what we need, but I do have an alternative for you. If the Royal Guard's not your cup of tea, you want a bit more artwork, then maybe you want to look at a Battle Scarred Jawbreaker. Now, I mean, you could buy it in minimal wear, but I thought going for Battle Scarred where it gets that slight color change on it. This is 0.60 float. It's $5. I personally think I'm leaning this way. And it's not often I suggest well-worn skins, but based on pricing and availability at the time, we've got quite a few well-worn skins in here. This is basically $25 for a well-worn Pep's Curse. I think this is a great skin, and the thing with getting it well-worn, it sort of wears down a little bit and gets a similar look vibe you get with the gloves, because even though these gloves are minimal wear, you can see like the creases and the marks on them. Now, an obvious pairing is going to be consistent here. It's going heat treated and going for case hardens. This is a well-worn heat treated that's very much market price. It's pattern 815 because there's very little blue on it. But the reason I've gone for this is one, it's the cheap baseline and you can pay more if you want to. But with the gloves I've picked, the left hand's actually quite gold, and when you hold the Desert Eagle, there's a decent amount of gold. So you actually want to sort of lean into that color pairing here, in my opinion. And then the dual Berettas, we're going to go cheap and cheerful. We're going for a pair of hideouts. It does have yellow. It's got blues on them. We don't want to break the bank. These are going to do the job. And surprise, surprise, we found ourselves back at another case hardened. This one I actually quite like. This is pattern 97, well worn, and it is really heavy on like the yellow gold with a little bit of the blue. But as I say, when you're holding guns and idle with this pair of gloves, which are, these are the second cheapest listed at the time, you're getting a lot of gold in there. And I think that means going for the cheaper case hardens, which are more gold based, it just aligns quite nicely. Now, in the past, I would have looked at a Starlight Protector here for the MP9, but the trade-up prices just have that insane. So I'm going to go for the Nexus. I couldn't really find anything else I looked at, and I was like, yeah, that works really well. This is at least a very neutral skin with a blue accent color on it, and we've got some blue accents on the gloves. I do think the Just Smile works quite well here. It's not necessarily the right shade of yellow, the right shade of blue, but I think the vibe and the fact it's just over $1, like, it aligns pretty nicely. If you do want a UMP, I think you want to look at the mechanism. Now, I priced for a souvenir version, which is 13 cents, but I've done it without stickers, so you can see the artwork. Of course, you could scrape the stickers to get this if you wanted to, but I feel like this actually works surprisingly well with the gloves. And we'll take a budget gem on the XM side of things. There was nothing that was really screaming a stellar pairing here, so I thought we'll go get a bit of artwork in with the Arizumi. It only costs 12 cents. It's a pretty good price for what you're getting. Like, I don't like how much the Justice is in field tested, because you're talking like $4.50 for a weapon you don't use that much, but it is blue and gold. It just kind of screams out to be the best pairing. And then, a surprise pick on the Emperor S side of things, I'm going to go for a field-tested control panel. Now, you'll see here, I've got a lot of field-tested skins coming up, and that's mainly to extract the best value for money. I don't love this M4, but I actually do quite like it with these gloves because you've got that blue, you've got that yellow coming through. It's also quite unique as a pairing, so I think you can definitely make this work. Now, outside of going for a solitude pattern, which can get really messy, I thought the next best thing would be like a field test at liquidation for just over $5. I do think the control panel is better, but if you wanted something different, you could maybe consider this, as it does have the secondary colors that pair. Now, another item that's been impacted by the trade-ups is the Emperor. Field test is now nearly $50 for this. I remember a time when it bounced between like $15 and $20. I think even before that, close to 10. It is, I think, the best pairing here, so you kind of have to cough up for it, which is a little unfortunate. Meanwhile, your alternative would be going for a battle-scarred IF4. This is a 0.60 float. I found it on the market for $125. Personally, I actually think this looks better than the Emperor, even though I don't love the IF4 as a skin. I feel like it could have been done slightly better. But here, with a sort of gold we get on the gloves, and it's almost like a bronzy effect on the gloves too, these battle scarred skins end up looking really clean. And speaking of battle scarred skins, I honestly got really stuck on the op. I ended up going for a battle scarred Black Nile. It's like $3.50. I genuinely, like, I tried a duality, I tried a few things. There was not a Man of War even, and still none of it really like clicked. So I think this is your best bet. And you'll see here when holding weapons, it is very gold. So commemoration was an idea, but honestly, the golds clashed. It was too different. So I ended up going for a half sleeve. One, is cheap and cheerful at 15 cents, but two, it does hit like the bluish, yellowy, goldy bronze vibes on it. It's got those accent colors. I think overall, for the price you pay again, this is pretty solid. And then maybe I finally found a use case for the blush pour. I could be full couple on this one. You guys can let me know if this is a better scout. I thought for $1.40, and sort of, especially the darker color textures on this, I thought it worked. Now, as we jump to the T side, you are going to see we have a body Darryl the Strapped, who is almost $53 now. Gets us the gold accents, the pairing with the golds on the glove. Fantastic, right? Then on the Glock, we're going to go for a Battle Scarred Remez's Reach. This is just under $5 for a 0.79 float, where the Easter egg starts to come through. I had like 5 Glocks in mind that I wanted to test with this, Remez's Reach being one of them. None of them were perfect, but I thought artwork-wise, this was the best. Then continuing in the stamps of that control panel, we're going to have a remote control here. Now, it is $4 for minimal wear, which is a little bit pricey, but I think you can definitely see with this how everything's coming together. And you might actually see, yeah, look at the blue on the fingers there at the start. Look at the amount of blue that you get on that right hand. Obviously, you only see it in niche situations, but it's kind of cool to have. Then on the Mac 10, real winner for me here, actually, the Cat 5 for under $2 minimal wear. I think this is an absolutely banging skin to be able to pick up here. And it does tick a lot of the boxes. It's got the blues, it's got the yellows. I think overall, I don't want to get a case out of Mac 10 because the price is bloody stupid. So this is where we end up on the Cat 5. Then another Battle Scarred Indubus collection. This one works even better. The Scarab Brush. Under $3 for a high float to get the Easter egg coming in, which are the scarabs and the text coming through. It's gold. It's got the blue accents. Like, this was just a pairing that you always have to go down. And honestly, on the T rifles, I've had to pick up some stuff that I personally don't love. The Rainbow Spoon and minimal wear, call it $54. The base price versions, or the market price versions, are going to be this kind of pattern where you get a bit of blue, but you also get this yellowy sort of goldy color depending on like where you're inspecting. And I thought this with these gloves actually made a lot of sense as a pairing. And then absolute blasphemy, because I'm having to suggest an AK-47 Case Hardened. This is minimal wear at $233. It's pattern 688, and this is a market price pattern. Obviously, you can see very similar to the knives we had, to the gloves we have. It is a mix of the golds and the blues. But that's mainly because it's base pricing, and I want to give like a stable suggestion for people. And if you want to go get specific patterns with overpay, then obviously feel free to. And if you're in a very weird position where you love these gloves, but you don't like the Case Hardened AK, which I don't think is going to happen, but just in case that is you, a field test to Be the Monster can work here. It's $206, but I feel like the golds you get actually working pretty well together, and obviously there's a lot of colors on this, so you can kind of get away with glove pairings, like a nice mix actually sometimes, but especially those golds are what is pairing well together. And for the SG, man, I picked an aerial. It's less than 30% mid-wear. It's got this yellowish color on it. There was nothing else that really worked. We'll call it a day. Let's get to the total cost of this loadout. So if you went for that flip knife that we showcased at the start of the video, you're talking $826 for the loadout. So actually, getting under $1,000 to go basically full Case Hardened and skins that work around it is pretty cool if that's your cup of tea. And then if you did want to upgrade to the butterfly, as we were saying, that gets you to just under $1,500. So like a minimum wear butterfly, minimum wear gloves that all pair together, the weapon skins all for the most part complement quite well. For sub $1,500 in today's like CS market, that's not that bad actually. And then as mentioned, that third knife was going to be a blue steel. I do think you should be going case hardened, but I did want to throw something else in there that you guys could consider. But I'm going to end it there. That's enough waffling about case hardens. I don't have to look at them for a couple months now. I can see with my eyes from these sort of combinations. But I hope you guys have enjoyed it. It's always fun making these and trying some different, more unique loadouts, let's be real. Because not many people actually run these gloves, but for those that do, hopefully it's going to help you. Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button if you're new around here. And a big thank you guys always to the YouTube members for continuing to support the channel. Absolute real ones. I'll catch you guys in the next video or the next stream. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.